Look in your kitchen cupboard right now, on the low shelf you never really see, and find the plain green glass mug or bowl you have used for 30 years without a second thought. That worn piece of everyday dishware could quietly be worth hundreds, and in a few rare cases, thousands of dollars. These are 10 old Fire King dishes hiding in ordinary American kitchens, and by the end, one of them is almost certainly already yours. Let us find out which. Here is the thing about Fire King glass. It was never meant to be precious. Anchor Hocking made it in Lancaster, Ohio, and sold it at 5 and dime counters or gave it away inside oatmeal boxes for pennies. Over 25 million pieces of the mint green jadeite left the factory in the first 6 years alone. So it ended up everywhere, in church basements, in wedding cupboards, in the back of your grandmother's pantry. And that is exactly why nobody looks at it twice. When a thing was cheap and common and always just there, your eye slides right past it. You are not careless for missing this. You simply were never told that in the 1990s. The whole market flipped, and pieces that once cost a nickel started changing hands for real money. Tonight, I'm going to teach you to look again. Let us start at number 10. Number 10 is peach luster, that warm, coppery pink iridescent glass with the laurel band made from 1952 to 1963. Most people think it looks dated, a little tired, the kind of thing you set out at a yard sale for a quarter. Fair enough. It is the most common Fire King finish there is. But look closer at the shimmer. That iridescent skin was sprayed on hot and it either survived 60 years or it did not. Here is what most sellers get wrong. A clean, unhazed peach luster place setting, complete, quietly sells to collectors for far more than the scratch singles flooding the shelves. Complete peach luster sets have brought well over $100. So tonight, carry one piece to a lamp and tilt it slowly under the bulb. If the copper sheen still flashes rainbow with no cloudy grey patches, you are holding a survivor. If it is dull and worn through, the value walked out the door years ago in a dishwasher. That is the whole difference. Number 9. Number 9 is the shell pattern, that swirled, scalloped jadeite with the seashell edge, produced from 1965 to 1976 in the final stretch of original manufacturing. It reads as fussy grandmother china, and most people price it accordingly. Now the part the resellers keep quiet, because shell came late, the good early jadeite colour had softened, so a genuinely rich deep green shell piece stands out and gets bid up. A single dish is modest, $20 to $40, honestly. I will not pretend a lone saucer is a jackpot. But a full shell dinner service in strong colour is a different animal. Run your thumb around the rim. Real Fire King shell has soft, rounded scallops that feel almost buttery. Reproductions come out sharper with edges that were pressed too crisp and never wore down. Here is the trap. Many people find one flawless-looking shell plate, assume it is old and it is a fresh copy worth a fraction. Turn it over and read the mark before you celebrate. Number 8. Number 8 is turquoise blue, made only from 1956 to 1962, in the swirl and charm shapes. That soft robin's egg colour was a short run, and short runs are where value hides. Here is what the price tag never said. Turquoise blue was produced for just 6 years and then dropped, so far less of it exists than the green. The gold trimmed pieces are the ones to watch, because the gold rubbed off on most and an unworn gold rim is genuinely scarce. Pick the piece up and feel the weight in your palm. Old Anchor Hocking glass has a dense, cool heft to it. Then read the underside for the Fire King stamp. In 20 years of buying out estate kitchens across the Midwest, I have watched people leave whole turquoise blue sets on the giveaway table because the colour looked like a bathroom from 1959. The buyer behind them quietly resold it for real money. Do not be the one who left it. Number 7. Number 7 is sheaves of wheat, and I have to be honest with you here, because this is the item people most love to overhype. Made only from 1957 to 1959, it carries a raised wheat stalk design pressed right into the jadeite. The short production window makes collectors want it. But here is the honest truth, and I respect you too much to inflate it. The common tumblers and small bowls in this pattern are not the ones changing anybody's month. They bring modest money. The value lives in the harder forms, the covered casseroles, and the complete match sets. Run your fingertip across the wheat itself, On a genuine piece, the stalks are sharp and deeply moulded, with fine detail in the grain heads. Reproductions and later imitations go mushy and shallow. Here is where a family loses money. Someone inherits grandma's sheaves of wheat, reads online that it is rare, turns down a fair $400 offer on a full set, and eventually sells the singles for scrap glass prices. The pattern is real. The fortune usually is not. Number 6. Number 6 is restaurant ware, the thick, heavy jadeite built for 1950s diners. This is the sleeper of the whole category. Here is the part almost nobody tells you. Because it was made to survive commercial dishwashers and rough handling, it was built heavier and thicker than the home line, and far less of it slipped into private cupboards. The prize is the C-handle mug, the one with the closed ring handle, catalogue number G212. A standard home D-handle mug runs around $25. The C-handle restaurant mug quietly brings closer to $95. A splash-proof mixing bowl from 1950 has sold for $97. A batter bowl for $50. Pick up a suspect mug and just feel it. Restaurant ware is noticeably heavier and denser than anything you would buy for a home kitchen. Then look at the handle shape. If it is a solid closed ring, not an open C, you can hook a finger through, you may be holding the good one. Number 5 is coming, and the numbers climb hard from here. But before we get to the top 5, there is something I have learned in every single kitchen I have ever walked into. The pieces worth the most almost never announce themselves. They sit next to the worthless ones, same shelf, same colour, same tired green, and the only thing separating a $40 mug from a $400 rarity is a handful of details most people never learn to read. The shape of a handle, the exact wording moulded into the base, the way a reproduction gets one small proportion wrong. That gap between what a thing looks like and what it truly is where families quietly lose real money at estate tables every week. So I gathered everything I used to tell them apart into one plain guide called the Appraiser's Playbook, walking you through the marks, the mould clues, and the honest value ranges that let you read a piece the way a dealer does before you ever let it go. If you want it, the link is waiting below. Now, let us get back to the rankings. Number 5, and now the mood shifts, because we are into the pieces people fake. This is Alice, and something feels a little uneasy here. Alice was the pattern given away free inside oatmeal boxes made only from 1945 to 1949 in jadeite and a soft pink, free breakfast dishes. And here is what nobody expects. Because it was a giveaway and got used to death, surviving complete Alice sets are genuinely wanted. Complete sets run around $200 to $400, but this is exactly where the trap snaps shut. Alice is one of the most reproduced jadeite patterns alive. So flip the plate and read the base. If it says anything about being made in China or the graphics look too crisp and perfect, you have a modern copy worth a few dollars. Real 1940s Alice shows honest wear and softer moulding. I have sat across the table while a hopeful widow slid me a stack of shiny Alice plates that were younger than her grandchildren. Number 4. Number 4 is where colour does the talking and the figure jumps. We are talking about the rare maroon and burgundy coffee cups. Not the green everyone knows, but the deep oxblood shade anchor hocking, barely made. Here is the human detail that makes this one land. Common jadeite cups sit in every thrift store in America for $1. But because the dark maroon colour ran for such a short time, a matched pair of those coffee cups recently sold for nearly $2,000. 2 cups, the exact same object as the dollar version, in a colour that quietly almost never survived. So go through your cups and hunt for the odd one out, the deep reddish brown that does not match the set. Hold it to strong light to confirm the colour runs all the way through the glass. And if you find the maroon, you will understand number 1 better when we get there, because rarity of colour is about to become the entire game. Number 3 is the jadeite swirl casserole, and this is the piece the internet loves to shout about. You will read that a swirl casserole can bring $5,000. Let me be careful with you, the way a real dealer would. That 5,000 figure comes from a single trade blog, and it describes a museum quality flawless complete example, not the typical one. The honest, condition-dependent reality for most good swirl pieces is a range in the low hundreds, but a mint casserole with its matching lid, uncracked, unhazed, is a legitimately valuable object. And that is not hype. The test is the lid. Lids get dropped and broken first, so a casserole with its original, perfectly fitting lid is worth multiples of the base alone. Set the lid on and check the seat. If it sits flush with no chips on the rim flange, you have the rare survivor. A melted down or chipped one brings almost nothing. The lid is the whole story. Number two. Number two is the grail that serious collectors actually chase, the jadeite ball jug, a round-bodied green pitcher and one of the rarest things Anchor Hocking ever produced. Here is what makes this one different from everything before it. This is not a piece you complete a set with. It is a genuine trophy. It regularly exceeds several $100s, and at auction it has sold into the thousands every time it surfaces. Even a cracked ball jug still brings over $400, which tells you how few exist. As one long-time collector put it, the supply of the old pieces only ever gets smaller. So if you have a round green pitcher, do not you dare put it in a yard sale box. Set it on the counter and look at the form, the full rounded belly the way it was blown heavy. Then read the base for the mark. I have watched a ball jug go across an estate table for $3 because the family thought it was an old milk pitcher. The buyer did not correct them. And that brings us finally to number one. Number one is not the rarest piece. It is the one hiding in plain sight, the one almost every person watching this actually owns. The plain, everyday jadeite mug or bowl. The exact common piece I told you to go find at the very beginning. And here is why it sits at the top. Everything you learnt tonight comes down to one meta lesson that lives right here in your hands. Because this piece is so common, it is the single most reproduced, most faked, most misjudged item in the entire Fire King world. Anchor Hocking itself reissued jadeite in the year 2000, marked Fire King 2000. Martha Stewart, who set off this whole craze in the 1990s, and whose 2022 tag sale drew Blake Lively and Kris Jenner, sold her own copies marked Martha by mail. Mosser, Fenton, Cracker Barrel and Target's Hearth and Hand line all pour green glass that looks just like it. So here is the honest truth that protects you. You may have heard that real jadeite glows green under a black light because it is radioactive. Please do not use that test. Only the pre-war McKee and Jeanette glass held uranium. Genuine 1945 Fire King does not glow at all, and a researcher at Michigan State confirmed these dishes emit only negligibly tiny amounts of radiation and are safe to eat and drink from. A glowing piece is the wrong maker entirely. So turn your mug over and read the base like a page. Original block letter, Anchor Hocking, marks honest utensil wear, a dense cool weight. Those say old, the word 2000 crisp graphics, a lighter feel, made in China, those say $12 copy. Every one of the 9 pieces before this was just a special case of that one skill. Read the base first, so before you clear out a single cupboard, before you hand a box to the thrift store, before you accept anyone's first offer across a table, turn every piece over and read the mark. That is the whole craft, and now it is yours. Cheap and common was never the same thing as worthless. It only meant nobody had taught you to look yet. If this made you want to walk straight to your kitchen and start turning dishes over, do me a small kindness and give it a like because it tells me to keep making these. Subscribe if you want to learn to read the next category with me. And tell me in the comments, what green glass is sitting in your cupboard tonight and who did it come from? Your mother, your grandmother, a wedding long ago? I read every single one. Do not sell a single piece before you check the base.